Uh-oh. Sounds like someone's phone. Well, good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Christmas show. This is the last official show with someone else for the rest of the year. I know that's a long ways away. I think you already know who's sitting next to me, but if you don't, this is Dom, a.k.a. Primetime Treasure Hunter, good friend of ours. We were joking around a little bit, so you'll have to excuse us for a minute here. Christmas time, I got my long knitted hat on, and I do mean long knitted hat. I don't know how well you can see that, but we got family ones and all that kind of stuff too. Wife loves them. Reminds me of the old Victorian style hats. Dom, what are you wearing there? Why don't you show everybody what you got on?
Yeah, I've got my Merry Christmas Bob Ross shirt here. So I'm gonna be donning different types of garb throughout the show, but this is what I've got right now. Have yourself a Merry Christmas. So, I just did an episode recently on my channel about 20 mistakes in 20 years of reselling. And if you follow Bob Ross, there's really no such thing as mistakes. They're all happy little accidents, Don, and you turn them into birds and you have a happy rest of the day. So, Bob Ross, I love
a special on him. And it was talking about where did all of his paintings go? His daughter, you saw that one?
I did, yeah.
Oh, I forgot something. Let's get the festival going here for just a second here. If it'll click on.
Oh.
Now I had a little something else planned, but we got it together. We're here. We'll probably touch on just a bunch of different stuff. Christmas time, family time. In all honesty, this is the best time of year for a reseller, in my personal opinion, because for me anyway, it is, because I can do what I want. When I worked for somebody, I was always working for Christmas. And, Dom may have a different take on that because his job probably doesn't have him working on Christmas, but
no, in fact, every year I've been in my current place of employment for 15 years and well, technically 14, but I have taken the last week off of the year every single year. It's just a way to kind of reward myself for just working hard during the year. So I take off from Christmas Eve until January 2nd. So I really look forward to that time. And I'm still doing my reselling stuff, but I love just taking that time off from the regular job. Yep.
Yeah, I get that too with ours. For us, we took off 2 weeks last year for the first time during Christmas season. Couldn't do it if I was working for somebody, but it was really an enjoyable time to get out of the area. We drove down to the coast and all. So.
Well, Petey's here.
Daisy.
He's got a Santa on. Petey, for those of you who don't know, he's the mascot over on my channel. We named him PT for prime time. So what is it, Pete? What? I'm not gonna ask him that. He wants me to ask you something. What? Okay. All right, Don. You want me to tell you what he wants me to ask? He has a request. He wants to hear you say wubba lubba dub dub.
Wubba lubba dub dub. Wubba lubba dub
dub. He loves when you say wubba lubba dub dub. He's so excited about that. So all right, there you go. You got it, Pete. Now leave us alone for the rest of the show and give the hat back to Santa Claus is there. oh Santa, Petey, look at Santa. Oh boy, we got we heard a request. Petey, give that back to Pink Panther. I think Duncan was asking where Pink Panther was, so I'm gonna make sure that that Pink Panther gets his hat back for later on. We'll bring him out a little bit later. So
Pink Panther.
Yeah, we got Pink Panther here too. So just a nice, lighthearted, fun, silly show.
Yeah, we're just here to have some fun tonight. We'll probably talk about some resourcing and sourcing and Christmas and the whole works. But literally, this is the last one. I will be live next Thursday. Just me. Wife will probably be on for a little bit too. So that's what we got going on. More changes coming around, as everybody knows. If you saw Dom's show last night, talked about a lot of the stuff going on his show. I'll address some things next week. I was surprised today too. I was telling Dom, I got for some reason I got channel memberships on YouTube unlocked prior to 30,000 subs. I don't know what the deal was on that, but it's unlocked. So you might see some emojis and things like that popping up here and there if I set it all up sometime soon. But so I guess that's good news for us. Anyway,
It's really cool. I mean, Don, what I did last night on my show, I was doing a lot of reflecting back over the past year. And I mean, for yourself, I mean, are you just amazed at how much your channel has just grown? I mean, compared to where you started in January, do you even remember how many subscribers you had in January when you started off?
Yeah, I actually I got a video where I talk about it. So I was just looking at that the other day, and I can't remember. I wrote it down somewhere, and if you saw the notes I have running around here right now, you'd see why I can't figure out where I wrote the note at. But I was just thinking about that, trying to figure out where I'm at now, where I go. Once in a blue moon, I don't know about you, but I look at Social Blade only to see the projections. I don't care about any of the other stuff, but I like to see where they project me at in like a year from now.
Right,
you know?
right.
It's kind of neat to be. I broke 16,000. I know you're at what 95 right now.
Congratulations! Yeah, I just got over to 95. So, my goal was 5,000 by the end of the year, and to get close to 10, I'm happy about that. So
yeah, you're doing good. You're doing good.
Thank you, sir.
I saw that on there. I was just looking at yours the other day. Well, in fact, I was on your channel with your live show last night. Your 50th episode, I think, wasn't it?
Actually, it's funny. That was my 50th live show type of thing that I've done. So it was fun to just kind of wrap up the year with that, and just talk to the fans, and a lot of people came by. It was a good time.
Yeah, I couldn't even tell you how many I've done. I was going to go and count, but I've got a few that aren't in the right playlist, so I'd have to hunt and peck. And I got like 670 videos or something. I wouldn't want to have to look through them all just to figure that out.
Yeah, I mean, technically I have more than the 50 lives because I used to do them when I first started the channel, but I just kind of reset at a certain point when I started doing interviews, and I just started there. So it's really not an exact number, but it's just more of like an approximate.
We got red and green. If you got pretty much a bunch of red and I'm all green, so it kind of goes together, I guess, with the show.
Absolutely, we did not plan that ahead of time, and I do have some Christmas lights here, so put that on a little bit here too. I don't think they turn on anymore. Mrs. Primetime gave them to me, so
I was gonna bring some Christmas lights on, and I started to put them up, and it put so much glare on the camera. I was like, I better just take those back off.
Well, speaking of lights, actually, one of the things that I did improve was just a simple adjustment with my lighting, because it's just been bothering me that when I've been doing my videos recently, the top of my head just looks like it's glowing, basically.
Well, maybe it is glowing. Have you actually looked in
it does look like it's
maybe it's just you and you didn't look in the mirror.
No, you know what it is? It's a little extra shiny right now because I just got a little shave before I came on for you, Don. I wanted to make sure that a nice and clean cut for the show. But no, it was way worse than that. So I just moved the light up a little bit more. It's definitely made a nice. It's made an improvement. It's better. So.
Yeah, I got myself gift wrapped, so unfortunately it's got that glare, and I didn't think about it to the last second, so not much I can do about it. I thought you were going to put some Christmas trees in the background there, Dom.
Well, we were supposed to, and I see that. That's very nice. Mrs. Primetime was going to decorate for the, but she got a little caught up with things, wasn't able to get things back there. But she actually, if it wasn't for her, I wouldn't even have the Santa hat that I have right here. So. And she got me the lights, so we just had a crazy day. We just got back from my son's last basketball game of the year. So
how did that go?
It went good. They won the game, and it was one of those learning experience kind of years. So he plays all year round anyway, so he's always got opportunities to do things in his favorite sport. That's his one sport that he plays, and we're constantly going back and forth to basketball games all the time.
Oh, geez. Let's do a few call outs here just to say hi to everybody. We got Aaron first on there. It looks like, well, I beat Aaron, so we can't count that, but then we got Dom right below, Jingle Jangle in there. Let's see here. Toes tingling soon. Penny Day, welcome to the show. I got Hustle and Grind. Good evening to you. What has Duncan got going on here? There's Duncan. Dom and Don, double Terminator here. I mean, double moderator. And Duncan is from the great country of Australia. He is on the other side of the globe. Seattle here, Don. Had my first Etsy sale, vintage Garfield, sold to someone from Belgium. I am branching out. Sales are way down at eBay for me. Well, I am sorry to hear that, Naomi. I do Etsy in the whole works. it all adds up. Let's just put it that way. Who cares if you're only getting a couple hundred a month on one site? If you got 5 extra sites besides eBay, that's an extra $1,000 if you're doing enough on, each site. So I'm on other sites like Hip Platform, and it's not a huge amount of money, but we've got 4,000 or 5,000 items on, one site here, 4 or 5 on another, 10,000 here. Then we've got all of our eBay. It all adds up. Every little piece. If you don't make it from eBay, just make it from somewhere else. That's all that matters. It doesn't matter where you make it. There's no brand loyalty in my book to a site. So, just keep that in mind. Let's go with the Johnsons. Well, how are you doing? Managed to get Santa. I did have Santa on the show. Hopefully you saw that.
Yeah. No, that was cool. We're looking for our own Santa Claus around here. We cannot find where he went. So I don't know. He seems to have absconded somewhere.
Yeah, my wife's got a couple of these, and I've got all the little reindeer I was going to set up, but it's all the Velveteen 1960s Dankin red velvet reindeer. We've got like 20 of those things on the tree. Let's see, what does Duncan have to say? New South Wales, Australia, we are in state of emergency. I saw that too. Very sorry to hear that, Duncan. You guys broke the record, I think either yesterday or the day before, for the hottest day on record in your country, which was kind of astonishing. Let's pop on down here. Nantique, welcome. Let me get down a little farther. My feed is running a little bit slow. I do have a link to Dom's channel. If you have not seen Dom's channel, I think anybody on, or the majority of you folks, know who Dom is. I would sure as heck hope. Let me reload my...
People are asking me for my Santa hat, Don. It's not fair that you have a Santa hat on and I don't. So, all right.
Well, mine's not really a Santa. Mine's like a Victorian, the long Victorian hat.
There we go.
Like the old style that you'd sleep with. There's the Christmas song, Long Woolen Cap. That's the long woolen cap you're talking about. This is made out of wool, too. It's really cool.
All right, there we go.
I don't even remember where we got these. We got a whole bunch of these.
Maybe I could resell this after the show. Who knows?
Resell it after the show. Last year's Christmas from Dom, the primetime treasure hunter.
I'm gonna regret this video one day. This is gonna show up when I'm like testifying in court one day or something.
You're having fun. It's a holiday. What are they gonna say? I don't care. I dressed up as Gene Simmons in full makeup, so I'm not really too worried. You know what I mean? I'm gonna have a random cosplay next month too. Just FYI, we're going to a get together, and I'm going to be dressed up. So I'm gonna do a live show dressed as a character that day. So it'll be a surprise. Stony Creek Picker, welcome. Neutron Bomb, welcome back. Cosmic.
People in the chat are already offering to auction off for the hats now.
Oh, you can't have this hat. We've got like a whole family set of these. This one's not going anywhere. This is fact. We get them out every year. We've had it for a few years. No, I can't get rid of the hat. That's like a no way gonna go out. We've got some Viking hats that are knitted, and it's got a knitted beard on it with, the horns and everything else. I was going to wear that, but figured it might be a little hot. Maybe next week's show we'll do that one. I bet it's scary. Very wet here in Wales, UK. Johnsons are in England, if you did not know. We got Disney Family 515.
Carl said that my hat rules. He said it kind of reminds him of a Star Wars character from the first movie. So... if I can take that as a compliment or
well, as long as it's not Jar Jar Binks, we're okay.
Yeah.
Thomas Gardner. It is now showtime, yes. Anyone here think Amazon is a bad idea? The Craigslist hunter maintains Amazon is a train that is about to derail. Amazon's got its issues, but I still make good money on Amazon, so I'm not giving up Amazon anytime soon.
Yeah, I just saw an article about Amazon is just on. So, like, well, first of all,
up on me, Dom.
What? You got me? You hear me?
Maybe it's just me. Let me pop over to the other screen.
Is everyone?
Yeah.
Well, I'll ask people in the chat. Is everyone hearing me okay in the chat?
Yeah, it might just be the same thing we ran into the other day with StreamYard on my end looking weird.
Okay. Hopefully,
right now.
Okay. Hopefully, I'm coming across okay. If people in the chat could just say, but yeah, I mean, this is not shocking, but Amazon was just named Web Commerce Platform of the Decade. They also were projected to just, I mean, like the amount of money they're supposed to make in like the next 3 years is just at this insane level. I don't even remember the number, but it's just crazy. So like they're not, according to everything I'm reading, they're not really expected to slow down. I mean, as you know, they've really invested in their warehouse capabilities to make that one day delivery more of a reality all across the country. And everywhere I look, every day, they're building massive warehouses everywhere. In fact, where I live here in central New York / upstate New York, they are building one of the biggest. In fact, I believe it's going to be the second biggest warehouse in either the United States or the world. I mean, it's crazy. It's going to be in Clay, New York, and it's mostly going to be Amazon. So, I mean, they're just all over the place. They're getting their tentacles into everywhere.
The only thing I can say on that, after reading that article, and I know you read it because we talked about it, the one about the dumpster diving and stuff on it.
Mm-hmm.
The one thing I can say is right after that, they did send out notices. There is a new update to Amazon's policy on not selling goods like that anymore at all. I don't know how they'd ever enforce it, but and I did see another article the other day about more people getting gated and stuff. I got my first intellectual property ding on Amazon ever, and I'm trying to fight it now because it comes from, and I'm going to shoot this out here, and somebody's going to say, "What the heck would that be?" But it's from Richard Pryor's estate. Lodged 2 complaints for 2 8x10 photos that I had with Richard Pryor in it, but he was under contract with CBS's Who's the Photos From, which CBS is fine with it because they've actually said something to me about another one. So it's kind of weird that I got a ding for something that's been up. I've been selling the same things for years, after almost 3 years, and now I get a intellectual property. It's not a strike, but it's the principle of it. That it's a little scary when you have something like that happen, and then they say they pulled it down, but yet I'm the one who pulled it down. So fighting Amazon's pretty hard. Saul, yeah. I'm sure that's similar to what you're issuing and talking about.
Yeah, and with regards to, I heard you talking about that recently, but with regards to the whole part with the dumpster and stuff, some of the stuff, I mean, they're not going to be able to check all that stuff and know what's coming from a dumpster, what's not, especially if it's stuff pulled out of a dumpster that looks brand new. There's no way they're going to be able to tell. Obviously, if it comes in stinking like garbage and it's decrepit, they're going to know that way. But beyond that, they're not going to know. And that statement that they made to the press, that's something they have to say for PR. They don't want their customers thinking that if you order from Amazon, you're ordering things that came out of a garbage dumpster. So, of course they're going to say that. So,
I mean, the stuff's good stuff. I mean, I wouldn't say, I don't go out and do that around here because, I know everybody and my friends, like the second in charge of the sheriff's department. I don't really want any issues and, things showing up personally. So I don't do it. But, I don't care what they do. I've bought stuff that you're not bought, but acquired stuff that somebody was going to throw out. And we did sell stuff like that too. It just depends on what it is, obviously. But the only thing that scares me on that is them gating people, when they're listing stuff that normally they don't list just because that's what they found that day. I know when we worked at some of the establishments, we used to spray paint everything that went in the dumpster. So it couldn't be reused or resold. Literally take some big fluorescent spray paint and the whole thing was just drenched in paint. It was in my budget. I had a paint budget at most of the places I worked in retail. I don't know, if anybody else on here has worked in retail and knows what I'm talking about, but that's just something I've always ran into. Let me see, where were we? I missed Thomas Gardner, 0 temperature in Vermont. We have friends and relatives in Vermont, actually. So I want to get up that way again. We were there like 10 years ago. We went through the whole New England area. We stayed in Saugus, Mass. Sure, you know where that's at if you're up in that general area, I would imagine.
Yep.
Hang on just a second. Well, Carl, thank you for the super chat there. I would like to say thank you to both of you for a great year of videos. Merry Christmas to both of you and nothing but best wishes for the new year. Well, thank you very, very kindly, Carl. Carl is in sunny state of Florida, one of my areas where I lived in for a decade. So weren't you in Florida too, Dom, at one time?
Yep. Yeah, I went to graduate school in Fort Lauderdale. So that's where I started, doing my picking back then in 98, 99 at the swap shop down in Fort Lauderdale.
So everybody seems to have a history in Florida. Well, thanks again, Carl. I greatly and honestly do appreciate that. As you know, I do have Carol the Bells playing in the background. I don't know how. I don't want to get it too loud, but it is royalty free. So anyway,
I saw Neutron Bomb had an Amazon question there, Don, on if you think that Amazon will ever be busted up by the government.
do I think Amazon will be busted up by the government? Not the way we've been running these days. I would probably say no. That would be my honest opinion. I mean, where I'm at, I live in a monopoly for the phone company. My only choice is AT&T. And we had Spectrum move in here. And then like 2 months later, after I was already approved and we were going to have Spectrum, AT&T bought them out. So I have no choice. Just like internet access, phone access, there's nothing. There's one little rinky-dink local one, but they're awful from what I understand. I don't know how you could be worse than AT&T, but you know, if they haven't broken up AT&T and they're just gobbling up all these little companies, I don't see them touching, honestly, Amazon Neutron Bomb. Well, thank you, Carolina Picks. Merry Christmas back to you as well. Treasure Coast Picker, welcome to the show. Yeah, I see Duncan. Let me try and catch back up to you because Dom's way ahead of me on reading the chat. I'm slow chat reader here. Mark Donahue, how are you doing? Great to see everyone on as well. David Rubino, welcome. The Can Man. I'm assuming you collect cans. I would hope that would be the case, but maybe not. John Valentine, hello. 20 degrees here in Michigan, Stone Creek Picker. I think it's about 20 or 22 outside now. We're close to the airport, and I don't hear many planes running, so I would say it's below a certain temperature, probably in the 20 range. Duncan is wishing everybody Merry Christmas. Well, Happy Christmas to his American friends. Shipping Sunshine, welcome. Hang on. I think my feed is frozen again. Yeah, hang on. Let me move over. I don't know what it is on the feed on here. I never have good luck on the feed. Yeah, my feed's frozen. I can't see anything on the feed.
Oh, really?
Yeah, StreamYard won't load. No, there we go. StreamYard just popped. There we go.
So I saw someone said Dom's going to check out some comics. That's Carolina Picks. Going to check out some comics this weekend, all $1 each. Any advice on what to look for? I know some are from the 80s and the 90s. So you hearing that, Don? You see in the chat?
Yeah, I got you.
Going to check out some comics for $1 each. That might sound like a good deal, but actually, and Don knows this too, because I know Don does some bulk comic book purchases as well. That
whenever
really,
I can.
What'd you say?
Whenever I can.
Yeah, whenever you can. Try to buy them in bulk as much as possible, and really try to get them for somewhere between 10 and 20 cents. Usually, on average, about 15 cents. You could usually almost always get them between 10 and 15 cents. You might have to pay a little bit higher if it's a smaller stack, like if someone's trying to sell you like 200 comics. But that's really the best way to do it, is to buy them in bulk like that to get a better price. But yeah, you're really mostly for the 70s and 80s, you're looking for, your classic series. I would definitely look for a bunch of Amazing Spider-Man if you could find that. Look for some complete mini series if you could find those as well. Anything Avengers is also very popular right now, and as anything related to the Avengers characters. So Thor used to be one that really wasn't that popular. It would be hard to get rid of Captain America's, but now if you can get them in big enough lots, those are easier to move. So I would say familiarize yourself with a lot of the Avengers characters, or characters who are featured in the Avengers movies. Even Incredible Hulk. I mean, I've recently sold a whole bunch of Incredible Hulk lots from that era.
I picked up a lot, talking about Hulk. I just picked up a lot of Hulk Reds #1, and I sold every one of them within the same week. They just flew out the door. Every one of them. I had like 12 of them. Yeah.
This is exactly what I'm saying. I mean, Iron Man, hugely popular. I mean, that's what started off really this whole Marvel Avengers series. If you trace, back to it. So just, I would say familiarize yourself with a lot of that. Of course, if you could find some vintage Batman, so going over to the DC line, Wonder Woman, anything that was done by George Perez is very popular. And then go to see if there are interesting independent books, things that were not published through DC or Marvel. You might even find some comic book magazines there as well. If you see anything through like a heavy metal magazine that's actually called Heavy Metal, not Heavy Metal Magazines, but it's called Heavy Metal. It's an adult-based comic book series. It's like a thick magazine, and those sell very well also. I've done very well there. And Mad magazines, we've talked about that a lot. Those I would actually say you could pay up to $1 for and still flip well if you could get the Mads. Just go look up lots of Mad magazines on comps for eBay and see how much they sell for the 80s and 70s. They sell very well. If you could find ones that go back to the 60s and 50s, you'll do even better, even with smaller lots. It's crazy what people will pay for Mad magazines now. And my other tip on the Mads is do not worry if you see on the back cover that it's folded in 3, because they had a tri-fold on the back covers where you would fold it. You remember this, Don? You'd fold that cover.
I folded every single one I ever owned.
Yeah, exactly. So that's very common. You'll see that you would fold it, and based on the way you folded it, it would make the image look like something different. So not unusual at all to see that. You'll even be able to sneak a few Mad magazines in there that don't have covers. Frequently, they were not taken care of very well, because back in the day, you couldn't really put them in bags and boards and stuff like that. People weren't using magazine bags and boards. So it's very common for those to be quite damaged. And so don't worry about that. The other thing I would tell you from that era, Don, to look for would be the creepy magazines and the eerie magazines, anything published through Warren Publications.
Warren, yeah. Warren and Curtis.
Yeah, Warren and Curtis. Yeah, look for those. There were so many just different obscure titles that were monster related. Yeah, I heard you recently, Don, talking about Vampirella.
One of my favorites.
I mean, we're probably right up Carl's alley right now, because I know Carl loves all these comic book horror related characters and titles. So that would be my general spiel, and then here and there pick things out and just randomly check a couple comps here and there to see see what you're getting, and just be careful that you're not picking up a bunch of no-name stuff. But generally, stuff from the 80s and the 70s is actually becoming right now, stuff from that era. So I would check it out and just make sure you're careful with regards to condition.
Yeah, condition. I've got probably 200 or 300 Mads and stuff here. I buy the Cracked too, and I can usually do fairly well on Cracked magazine too. They got trade cards too from Cracked back from the 70s. Same with the Mad. I got some Mad here. I got I think it's a 6-inch Mad Alfred E. Newman for President from like 62 or 64. I think one of the two on there. You probably know what I'm talking about. You've probably seen that one before.
Yeah. Yep. There's even a Mad magazine issue that I have that I was talking about, Don. It has a record inside of it. It's like a little plastic record. So if you could find something like that, that's cool. In addition to Cracked magazines, which was really kind of like the sister magazine to Mad, there's also one called Crazy.
I got those too.
So
yeah.
There's some cool covers with that. I actually have one on my eBay store right now with Kiss on the cover. So those could be pretty collectible as well if you could find the Crazy magazines too. So there's so much. I mean, we could talk about that all night, but that's a general, just quick answer. I hope I answered the question okay to the person who asked it.
Hang on, my feed's back in. Let me see where we were at. Got a bunch of Merry Christmases. Merry Christmas back to everybody else. Let's pop down to some questions here.
Don, I don't know if it's my audio or what, but your throat sounds a little dry there.
No, not that I. If it does, it's just me. I've got something right here. You want to give me a drink?
Are you thirsty, Don?
Yeah, sure. Go ahead.
I do have some water here. I mean, I don't know if that would work. I mean, if you have a cup or something, it's
pour some more in my mug.
I just have to press that button on my computer so I could go through the screen and pour some in there for you. Let me see if that's working here. Hold on. I'm going to press. All right, I think it's activated. Did that light just show up on your computer? Did that
yeah, I got you, Don.
All right, I'm going to come through the screen now. All right, here we go. All right, I'm going to pour it for you. Here you go. All right, and just tell me when. All right.
That's enough.
All right, there you go. And all right. It worked. Wow, it's the first time we tried that.
It's warm.
Oh,
you have to refrigerate, Don.
I'm sorry, Don. You know, it actually is cold. Hold on, let me take a little sip of that. Yeah, no, this is cold. You know what wants to happen, Don? That when I went through, it just kind of heated up because it went through like a different dimension. And so I think that kind of warmed up the water a little bit, but I hope it tastes good. It had to dematerialize. It had to dematerialize on the other side.
Hang on, I'm lost on my feet again. Hang on.
Yeah, Duncan said I should give him some
every week.
Yeah, I can't put the whiskey through there, or we're getting in trouble. So
no, I'm not a whiskey drinker anyway.
Yeah, YouTube.
Maybe some rum. Well, not rum. I wouldn't do rum. Tequila, gin, or vodka. That's my drinks.
We'll work on that.
Collins. Well, maybe bring your Tom Collins.
Yeah, maybe next year. Maybe next year we could actually give each other some Christmas presents through the screen. That'll be fun. And to that end, Don, I do want to publicly thank you for the Christmas presents that you sent me.
That was just for you. You don't have to thank or anything.
That was very nice. I do want to say, because I do hope that you will be receiving my Christmas present to you in the mail tomorrow. So I don't want to give too much away in terms of what it is, but I'll just say it's something that you could definitely display on your YouTube channel at least once. So we'll see what you think about it.
Hint.
But yeah, so we've joked before on our channels about our shared loves of cereal, and Don was kind enough to send me 4 boxes of junky cereal, and it was delicious. It was funny too, because that weekend I wasn't feeling too great. And when you're just not feeling well and you're just craving food, you're just wanting. I know sometimes your appetite gets suppressed, but other times you just have like this pit in your stomach. You just want to keep eating. And I was craving something chocolatey. I don't usually do that, but I was. And sure enough, Don sent me a text. He's like, "Hey, did you get the present? Did you get the box?" And I'm like, I hadn't got it yet. So it's like 11:15 at night. I'm like craving this chocolatey thing. I look outside my door. I'm like, hold on, let me look. I go look, and there's this big box sitting out there. It's from Don. So I open it up. I'm like, what? I figured he was going to send me something comic book related or something.
I was going to, but
so I open. I'm like, what the heck is this? There's no way these are comics. This is like a big box. So I open up, and I just started laughing because I saw the 4 boxes he had. What was it? It was chocolate toast crunch.
Churros is my favorite out of them.
Churros are delicious. Have you tried those?
Oh yeah, I did. That's why I sent them to you.
They're delicious. Then there was which I've never seen around here. There was one with, it's like cocoa pebbles mixed with peanut butter pebbles. So there was that one, and then there was like it was like I think it was a frosted flake kind of one. I believe. I don't
remember because I bought a whole bunch of cereal that one day. Yeah. For somebody else too. I gave somebody else cereal. There's some kids that.
Oh, okay. No, long story short. There you go. So it was great. It was I poured it right, and it totally hit the spot. It was like the perfect thing right at that moment that I needed. And Don came through. He knew somehow to get me the chocolate toast crunch right there.
Well, I wanted to get you all the General Mills, the Frankenberry, and all those, but you can't get them except like on one store around here after the season for whatever reason. Usually I can get them at Kroger's, but they didn't have them at Kroger's. I went to Myers and a couple other stores and ran out of time is what happened. That's my favorite,
Yeah. Well, it used to be that I want to get to Karen Henderson's comment in a minute. It's pretty funny. But yeah, they used to sell Frankenberry and Boo Berry and all that stuff all year round. Now they only bring it out during the Halloween season, which is interesting.
Around here,
sorry, go ahead.
I was just gonna say around here they have it more seasonally than anywhere else because they make it here. So you can still get it out of season around here, but you got to go to like 1 or 2 stores that are close to the plants, and that's about it.
Okay, right. Now let me work in something reselling related to the silliness that Don and the lightheartedness that Don are presenting tonight. And we're talking about cereals and stuff, but I don't do Amazon FBA at least yet. But if I did, opportunity that some people might want to look into, because grocery is one of the biggest expanding areas in Amazon right now and in all of online reselling. It's continuously expanding. A lot of people trying to get into it, and you could sell food products over through Amazon. Well, is at the grocery store I'm checking out, and there's a big grocery cart sitting there right at the front with pumpkin spice shredded wheat at 92 cents a box. And I said, I said, that's interesting. I started looking up on eBay, and there were some people that sold like 2 boxes of it for $20, or 4 boxes for like $30 or something like that. And I said, you know what? I bet if I wanted to, I could go talk to the manager, get that price per unit down, because there had to have been about like 40 boxes of pumpkin spice shredded wheat in there. And that could be something that's an opportunity, like a seasonal food item that you could pick up that somewhere, some other place in the country, like they crave that, they want that, they can't get it. You could be their source for it. And sometimes those food products could sell for crazy money on Amazon FBA, Don.
Yeah, we've done last year. I did nuts and stuff. I always do shelled walnuts and pecans and all that kind of stuff. We buy them from local grocery stores after the season. They make pecan pie, and at the end of the day, sometimes I'm able to get like 150 pounds in 5-pound boxes, and we usually sell those and stuff like that. And then I do the Keurig and the coffee, because those are always easy ones after the holidays. The peppermint ones, I sold all of ours out already. So I'll do all of those. I don't mess with like spices and all that stuff, because it's a rat race on Amazon with those kind of items. I go for the coffee sells so quick. That's why I mess with the coffee and stuff. And usually I can have it, partially sold as I'm walking out the store and just ring it up, because I'll list it if it's something I've got a bunch of before I even leave the store, and I'm already selling them sometimes, depending on what I have. We went to the mall the other day, and I bought some stuff at the lunchbox there. If you know what that is, you probably know what the lunchbox is, I would hope or imagine.
Yep.
A lot of comic book stuff there. They had a bunch of stuff on clearance. I literally listed them from the store before I even paid for them. And I had one item sold from the lunchbox, which paid for almost everything I got before I even paid for the item at the counter. So, that's how easy it can be on Amazon on some things, not everything. There's a lot more to it than just doing something like that. You got to know, you got to look it up, you got to pay attention. But I do like Amazon, I have to say, other than that ding from Richard Pryor's estate, which was really kind of screwy out of nowhere. That one caught me off guard. But
that's stir crazy, Don.
Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah, I've seen that before too. Hang on, I got a couple questions in here, and I see if I've lost where they were at, because it looks like the feed is like all over now.
Karen Henderson had a funny comment. I don't know if you saw it. Did you see that one?
You're farther down than me, I think. I'm trying to catch up.
She said we're both from another dimension for sure.
Yeah, everybody tells me when we first moved to Mississippi, everybody thought we were from California because the way we talked and dressed, and we didn't fit in very well, even though my wife was born and raised in Mississippi too. So here's a quote, flexi discs. Yeah, Paul Tidwell, the National Geographic had a bunch of those too, for sure. I know exactly what you're talking about. I have one from Wales, from National Geographic. I sell the vintage National Geographic. The best ones are World War II ones, but I do like vintage records and things like that. Obviously, we got a couple 100,000 records in our inventory, but where are we at here? So festive. Leanne, something for you. Welcome. This chick sells. How you doing? Advice for someone just getting started selling collectibles. JT merchandise. You gotta spend some time digging into it, I guess, is the biggest thing. And you're not gonna find, I see people, all the comments from people, and I got another comment video coming out. How do you find the stuff? I can't see this. There's no way anybody's gonna find most of the stuff you put in your videos. I get that quite often from people, but they're going to places that I wouldn't go to find this stuff. They're not going to thrift stores, to antique malls and local live auctions and things like that. That's where you find it. Estate sales. You're not going to find this stuff any other place unless you're specifically going to like a call from a Craigslist ad that says 1,000 comic books or something. You're going to have to branch out and look outside the box. Local live auctions have always been one of the best places around here, I should say. Well, better than any thrift store I've ever been to around here. It's just my luck on that. I mean, there's so much advice I could give you on that. It would take an hour,
Yeah, you can do a whole show on it. I mean, for getting
into a whole show on it.
Yeah,
wow. How you doing?
Yeah, I mean, I think it just at your basic core of it. There should be, if you've not sold anything that's vintage or collectible, just think about your own life and what you like and what you were interested in when you were younger. I mean, there has to be something that you could gravitate towards that you would be interested in, because you really want to start off with something that you have some knowledge and some interest in. and then branch out from there to maybe some related areas. Like for me, Don, I've long been into comic books, and so it's a very easy jump for me to move into something that's also paper related and vintage. So transitioning over to doing more postcards this year felt like a more natural fit than some of the other things I've been trying to transition into, like I was talking about last night, like tools, which I'm not as fluent with, or when I was, and I still do, clothing. But so there are some areas that I have challenged people last night, find something also that's different that you have not jumped into before. And, you want to try to learn something new, try to pick up some new topics to learn about. But also, I'd say if you're starting out, definitely try to find something that naturally fits within your interest area.
Definitely so. Jeff Sharp's talking about selling in 2008 Giant Size X-Men #1 for $380. It's like 2 or 3 times that now, if I'm not mistaken. And let's see, here's another one. Let me pop this one up here because I wanted to just shout this one out for a second. New Freedom 21. That sounds like a Trailer Park Boys reference, if I'm not mistaken. LPs outsold CDs in 2018. True, 100% true. If you're into records like I am, you know why that is if you're a record person. CDs have gone by way because of MP3. So CD sales are down because of that. Even if records weren't here, CDs are down. But LPs are a big nostalgia thing. I've got like probably 350,000 LPs right this minute. I mean, a ton of them. I love LPs. There's a record player in almost every room in the house other than the bedroom, if that tells you anything. I love records. LPs are big. That's why I've been doing so much better with records, because people are back into records, which, they never stop making. But anyway, I just thought I would shout that out because 100% correct. LPs did outsell CDs. Interesting fact. I was really surprised when I saw that.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's really picked up. And I could piggyback on one thing with the Giant Size X-Men #1 that sold for $380 in 2008. I sold that same book earlier this year in fine condition, meaning it had some some wear to it and stuff. I sold that book this year within minutes for $1,250.
Yeah, about 3 times as much. That's what I was figuring they were running right now.
Absolutely crazy.
Walmart now carries LPs. Aaron's got up there. Not only does Walmart do it, I was in Best Buy the other day, and they had a whole aisle of LPs. There was more space taken up by LPs than there were CDs in the Best Buy by our house, which I was really surprised. I never go into Best Buy either, so I buy everything offline, truthfully, electronic parts. But I was shocked to see LPs in there. The price now is a different story because they were fairly expensive for when I remember going to buy LPs, in 45s. If you wanted to hear a song, you bought it that way, or you had to buy a cassette single. I'm sure you remember the cassette singles, Dom, don't you?
Oh, totally. I mean, I used to rock the Walkman and everything. Loved going out, getting cassettes. I mean, a million of them. And people still love them to this day. That's why, especially if you're new into reselling and you're watching this, one of the key crucial items to go out there and make sure you pick up when you see them are Walkman. And bring AA batteries with you when you go sourcing so you could test these things out. But even some of them, like the old Iowas, they will sell for parts. I mean, I sold one for parts. The Iowa Walkman didn't even work. Sold it for $45. So
yeah, I sell them. I've got one down here right now. I had Ian or maybe it was Evan taking photos today. I don't remember which one took them, but I took a whole bunch of photos, and we've had 3 Walkmans sitting on the shelf for like 2 months. I just figured it's about time to get them up. Let's see here. Who remembers seeing the original Star Wars movie in the cinema? I saw it over 500 times when it went to VHS tape. I snuck out at age 8 to the theater without my mom knowing during the day when we were out playing, and saw Star Wars a whole bunch of times with my brother. Big fan of Star Wars when it first came out. Nowadays, I can't watch it anymore. The new ones or the old ones. So anyway, let me see. We got a bunch of lags, but I think that's from earlier. Hey, Annie, how are you doing? Good to have you on today, Annie. Hope all is well with you. Let's see here. I saw one just a minute ago. Carl was commenting on Bib's Fortuna. The hat, yeah, it does kind of look like that now that he said that.
Fortuna.
Where's my Santa hat, Naomi? This is close enough for me. I didn't want to dig out another box. We already put our Christmas boxes away. I do have one sitting there, though. Let's see here. Yeah, you're way ahead of me on that. I can barely keep up on this. When I'm on live chat with somebody, I have a hard time going to the chat and going back because my chat freezes constantly. Can Man, I scored a 26-inch paper mache Santa Claus with the bronze face. Super cool. That sounds really interesting. If you're talking about a metal or like a, it's probably like a Dresden paper, I would imagine. Merry Christmas to Wiseman of YouTube. Thanks to both of you. I've learned so much from your videos. Now I forgot where that thing is to turn off Carl's post. Not Carl.
Yeah, you're gonna have to scroll up to find it. It should be highlighted, and then hit the minus sign, and it'll come out.
Yeah, I think I'm too far down to. I think it's already.
You'll still be able to go up to get it out.
It won't let me go up so far.
Really?
Yeah. Well, that'll be pretty bad if I can't get it off there maybe if I click another one. In fact, there's Carl's. Let's see what happens when I do that.
Yeah, you might be able to replace it just by hitting the plus on another one. I'm not sure.
I hit the plus on another one, and all it did was get rid of it. So there it is. From the first movie. Well, you said Bibs Fortuna and another one. That's from Return of the Jedi now. Dress up as Beckle Nickel from The Office. I don't know. I do not watch The Office. Glad to have you here, Stony Creek Picker. Spike the Eggnog Note. Darth Santa. Hey, Scott Rose. Alan Reiser, how are you doing?
Got 156 people in the chat. Smash that like button, everybody.
Yeah, I can't even view this at all on YouTube. I only can see the StreamYard page. So if it is lagging, I apologize. I know we've got it set up correctly. My whole internet all day was slow, so I don't know if it's like a local thing. I even looked to see if there was issues locally. We reset the gateway and the whole works, so I checked the subnet and everything. It only seems to do this, too, on StreamYard, so I don't know. I wish there was an alternative. I actually was getting more fond of the old school way we were doing it before. Let me see where we at.
No, don't you remember the horrors we had with Hangouts?
Yeah, but at least when it was on, most of the time it was fine. I always seem to lag when I use StreamYard, though, and it's not my connection this time. Let's see. Let me move down. So I know you're way ahead of me on here. At least I got rid of that on the screen. Let me move down. Yeah, you're way ahead of me. Sorry, folks. I think anybody who watches the show knows I'm terrible on getting to everything. Let's see here. New York is building regardless of New York saying they aren't giving them any taxpayer money to build there. Yeah, they don't pay any taxes now. I don't know why we'd want to give them more money on top of them not paying taxes. But, you know, I do make money on Amazon, so I can't really complain too much. Yeah, Smile Time Gifts. The price on a comic doesn't dictate a value. Even 10-cent comic books may not be worth getting, even at $1. A lot of like the funnies and things like that, you're lucky to get $1 for them. Even some of those only go for 20, 30, 50 cents, even some of the more common ones. I try to only stick with comic books with, I love sci-fi and horror from the 40s, 50s. Pre-code is awesome, as Dom would say too, I'm sure. Yep. And then superheroes, you know.
Yes.
I was a Batman collector when I was a kid. So for like 30 plus years, I collected Batman comics.
Did you see the new Joker movie?
Yeah, we did watch it. Just the other one, your live show. We finished like 20 minutes into your live show, and that's when I popped back on the live show.
And how'd you like it?
I'm glad they didn't go another route. I didn't see Suicide Squad or anything like that. That's not up my line. But it was much better than I anticipated, in all honesty. I wasn't expecting much. I like Phoenix in there. What's his name?
Joaquin Phoenix.
Yeah, I like him. So, I mean, I just watched part of Gladiator the other day. So, I mean, I like him as an actor. And the movie was well done. Don't get me wrong. But I was expecting a little more action. You know, that's just my take on it. It drug a little bit. But, I mean, it explained it. You get the character, you get why he is what he is. It was more like an expose on his life than an action movie, I guess you could say. I did see what was coming at the end, which I won't spoil it. So I did kind of see, and well into the, you know, before I even got halfway through, I already saw, hey, well, that's what's going to happen. But
see, now for my brother, if I say that to him, he gets very upset and tells me I ruined the whole movie for him.
I'm not going to say what happened. I knew what was going to happen.
No, that's what I said. I said I did not ruin the movie. I did not tell you what happened, but he gets so upset. It's the funniest thing. I don't know if you ever saw the movie Arlington Road.
I don't know if I've seen that or not.
He's about to watch the movie, and I said to him, I go, wow, it was a great movie. I go, you're not going to believe the ending of it. And he told me afterwards that ruined the whole movie because I said that, he was able to like predict what was going to happen, and he predicted it, and he said it messed up the whole movie. So to this day, we still laugh about it. It happened like 20 years ago or something. It's so funny.
Well, I got a list of like 20 all-time movies, and Jerry Maguire's on that list. That's one of my favorites. I love The Martian. The new first Star Trek with what's his Pine? Chris Pine, is that his name? That's an awesome movie. Oh Brother, Where Art Thou? That's one of my favorites. I even liked Chicago was a good movie too, believe it or not. I like stuff like that. But let's see, we got some more questions. If you got one there before I get to one, you can pop it up there for me, Dom.
I can't actually bring it up. Only you can.
Oh, I thought you brought up that other one.
No, you brought that up. You mean mention it? You mean mention it or put it on the screen?
Put it on the screen.
Yeah, no, I didn't put it on the screen.
Oh, okay. Gorzone and Fangoria, yeah, those still sell, both of those. Creepy and Eerie, Carl was talking about. I had one that came out in the 90s, or not 90s, it was 2009, a horror magazine that was out. It was a limited kind of thing, and it was just some oddball one. I thought for sure they weren't going to be worth anything, and I was looking up comps, and they're like $40 a magazine. Wish I could remember the name of them. Yeah, Flex is down there. Some of the Mad Magazine used to be a comic book size, and there's a Mad Magazine that has issue 1, identical copy of it embedded in the magazine. I got that over here somewhere, but that's one of my favorite issues of Mad Magazine. It's like from the late 60s, and it's a copy of issue number 1 inside of a Mad Magazine from like 1964 or something like that, I want to say. Yeah. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I've seen that.
That's one of my favorites.
Duncan's like my brother. He said you ruined the movie. He hasn't seen it yet. He hasn't ruined the movie. He only ruined the movie if he told you what was going to happen at the end. So.
Yeah, I'm not going to tell you what's going to happen, but, I almost spit it out, but, I'm not going to do that. I had to think about that for a second. I'm like the only one around here that hadn't seen it. Even my kids saw it. They went to see it with their friends and stuff, so we said we'd do the family movie night and all, so. Nobody sent Duncan anything for Christmas. Well, it's not Christmas yet, Duncan. Being a little early on that. You couldn't open it early anyway. Thanks, Carl. Dangerous Double D. Scott, how you doing?
That doesn't sound... we might want to
be... Penny Day, when selling old greeting cards, how important are the envelopes? If they're NOS stock, I like to have the envelopes. If they're not NOS stock, I don't really care. Victorian cards, I almost never have an envelope, nor do I even care about that. Depends on how old they are. The people want the card, and they don't really care about the envelope, in my personal opinion. Triple, okay, I'm not going to say that one either there, Duncan.
Jeez. See, Don, they're trying to get us kicked off of YouTube.
Yeah, there we go.
Our initials.
Booberry is the best. Yeah, I do love Booberry. Laura Cohn, how are you doing? Yummy Mummy, yep. That's the one we couldn't think of the other day.
Yep. And, there was another one, too.
Small Time. I'm sorry. Yeah, there's 4 or 5, I think we said. I sell cereal on eBay, Smile Time Gifts. I have sold some in the past, mostly like sports on the front of the box and stuff like that, Wheaties or whatever it was. I don't try to mess with food anymore, just because I'm always worried about the legality and something happening. There's another thing, and maybe it was Wall Street Journal, maybe you saw it too, where somebody sold something on Amazon. It was a food product. Somebody died after eating it because somebody at Amazon changed the date so they didn't have to fill out the forms to pull the stuff off the shelves, and it turned into like a double lawsuit, if I remember right. So Amazon was partially to blame, and the seller was, and I mean somebody died. So I'm always worried about that they'll do something like that, because Amazon will repack your returns. If you didn't know that, Amazon repacks your items. If the person who gets the return back feels that it's okay to go back onto the shelf, they will repack it and reshelf it and resell it without telling you that. So FYI, that's just something else you might want to look out for.
Well, yeah. Well, this is why I told you, Mrs. Primetime, back in the day when we were sourcing at the flea market swap shop, she didn't want me picking up any boxes of cereal. That's how we got onto that discussion. And she has some real concerns about the health issues with that. I never actually picked one up. I always joke with her that I would, but yeah, no, I get it.
It's a valid concern. I mean, because nowadays people get sued. I mean, I have a BOP just in case for anything like that, because, and I try not to sell certain items that have any potential risk, and food is one of them. I do sell the walnuts because they usually have like a year expiration date, and those go out. If I list them, the first week in January, they're usually gone by the second or third week, no matter how many pounds I have. Sometimes I've had a couple hundred pounds be sold in like 2 days. That stuff goes really quick. Let's move down here. You can sell for like a Treasure Coast Picker, like the coffee I would get and stuff. We would sell that all on Amazon, FBA, most of it. And usually, when I list it, before it even gets there, I could have sold some of it, that quickly. It just depends on it. Sometimes I'll do merchant fulfilled, depending on if I feel like having to label and stuff. If it's something that'll move out real quick, I have done merchant fulfilled. But I honestly like FBA better for most anything, other than the collectibles, obviously. General advice for someone just get. Okay, we already did that one. Okay, so I'm back down. Candy sells on eBay. Yes, it does. Again, I do try to stay away from all that. Dom doesn't do it yet, but maybe he'll be on there. I did a video on my YouTube channel about K-Cups that I found in an unlikely place, sold out in no time. Yeah, K-Cups do very well, Cosmic Thrifter. I have never had those stay in the Keurigs are usually the best ones. Now, some people are gated on those. I guess I'm grandfathered because I haven't been gated on any coffee that I can remember in the past 4 years, in all honesty. Yeah, research is key, as he's saying there from Duncan. I'm catching up now to you. You're probably still way ahead of me.
You need any more water, Don?
I think I got it fine on the other side now.
All right.
What time is it? What time are we running on? Yeah, we're trying to get to some more questions here, but my feed is just so terrible. Yeah, hopefully there's another way to bring in another person other than going through this, because there's a bunch of people saying we're lagging. Hopefully we're still not lagging, but I can't load my page on YouTube at all, so I'm hoping that's not a bad sign. Yeah, walnuts sell, John. Walnuts sell incredibly well. We buy them out of season, then we sell them in season. We buy them for my wife feeds the squirrels, so she usually keeps like 20 pounds of walnuts when we get them. How about snow babies? Snow babies sell, but they're down, way down. Did I miss a super chat here? No, it won't open up.
You just got one that came in from Jeffrey D. $20.
Thank you very, very kindly. I've profited so much just from following the two of you. Thank you. Well, thank you very kindly, Jeffrey, for that $20 super chat.
Thanks,
half the time I don't even remember it's there until somebody does it. I'm terrible on calling out stuff like that. As I said earlier, we just got the channel membership, so you might see some other things popping up on here. I don't know what I'll do with it, but for some reason they let us have it like 10,000 plus subs early for some reason. I don't know why, but.
And Don, just so you know, a lot of people are writing that they're not having any lag and everything is coming through fine on their end.
Must just be here, because I can't even. Normally, like if we're just on a normal thing, I can usually see my own page of the live show going. I can't see anything. The chat's totally dead on my end. It's just spinning.
Contact the StreamYard folks after, like later, and see what they could say. Any suggestions?
I'll have to do that. It's only this, even when we did, the old way in it, the Hangouts, I still didn't lag like this. At least from what I see on my own page. As long as no one else is having the lag, I guess that's the most important thing.
I did get a request on what the bottom of my shirt says, Don, so I might have to
stand up
a little bit so people can see right here. So just happy little Christmas.
Happy little But again, thank you, Jeffrey D. Honestly and sincerely, we do appreciate that. I sold 2 of the monster cereals right before Easter. I may think twice now. That's from Mary. I don't know about selling them online. I've never tried that, but somebody else told me if you have all of them, to sell them on a lot, you can bundle them on Amazon, and they sell very well from what I understand right before Halloween. But
yeah, there's a total of 4. There's Frankenberry, there's Blueberry, there's Yummy Mummy, and then the one that's the hardest to find is Fruit Brute.
Frankenberry, Blueberry, the strawberry. There's 5 then, I think.
There's Yummy Mummy, and then there's Fruit Brute.
So there's 5 total. You got Frankenberry,
4.
Blueberry, Count Chocula.
Oh yeah, how could
Yummy Mummy, and then that last one.
Yeah.
So,
how could I forget Count Chocula? You're right.
Yeah, how could you forget? That's like the most famous
I
one.
have a Count Chocula shirt upstairs too. It says I bite on it. I'll have to wear that next time for you.
We'll have to watch you on that one. No, don't eat 40-year-old bubble gum. I know there's channels that do that, but I personally couldn't do that.
Yeah, there's some channels out there that's all they do is they eat expired foods. It's the grossest thing. Oh my god.
Yeah, what was that the other day that we were watching? Somebody opened up like a MRI kit from World War II and ate it. And I'm sorry, I can't do that.
You mean one of the army, the MREs?
Yep, I can't do that. Like not one that old, no way.
Yeah.
I'd be afraid of dying from botulism or something, you know.
Oh my god, yeah, it's disgusting.
But that's what they do. They enjoy it. Oh, now my feed's gone again.
Well, a lot of comments on the Bob Ross shirt. A lot of people like that.
Yeah, as I said, we have one. My son's got one that says something swag on it. Happy little swag or something. Crystal River. Crystal River's a nice area there, Carl. I've been out that way before. Yeah, Old Brother was a very good movie. I want to say I've seen Arlington Road. Does it have Nick Nolte in it?
I don't remember if he's in it or not. I'll have to look. The name's escaping me right now, but hold on, I'll tell you. So it's like a thriller movie.
So somebody's talking about cassettes. The best cassette tapes to get are AOR, album-oriented rock cassette tapes. I've sold some of those for like $400 and $500 a piece. They're usually local live recorded bands, like just Joe Schmo down the street that no one's ever heard of, that made like 100 of them, 400 of them, 1,000 of them. Man, those are the best ones you can get. And usually they're so easily distinguishable from all the other ones. If you're at a huge display of cassettes, I can just zoom through them because usually it's generic, like Xeroxed covers, the paper inserts, or they're hand-drawn and hand-colored on every single one of them. Those hands down are the best tapes I've done. I do have some bolos that I discussed on other tapes in my Patreon, but the only one I'm going to give out is the AOR here because that one's pretty well known for most people who are heavy into music like me. Album-oriented rock, and they come out in cassettes, so I don't get that, but that's the case. Carl was talking about that. Carl and Cosmic Thrifter. Yeah, smash the like button. No, I didn't hit that one. I hit it?
Yeah, you had to have hit that. I didn't hit it.
Maybe it's an accidental.
Maybe Duncan did it.
I don't think Duncan can do it.
No,
Craig, Landshark Picker. How you doing, Craig?
Arlington Road is, Scott said Tim Robbins and Jeff Bridges.
Is it like a murder thing or something? I bet you there's a road in the movie and it's called Arlington. Is that correct?
Yeah, right. It's like there is murder. It's like an FBI kind of thriller movie.
Maybe I've seen that. It's probably been a long time.
If you haven't seen it, Don, you won't believe the ending.
I might believe the ending. You never know. I think it's Requiem for a Dream. Maybe that's the movie I was thinking about. There's a couple movies that you got to watch like 3 and 4 times to put it together because I think it was Requiem for a Dream, maybe. It's one of those bizarre ones. The guy can't remember who he is, and he has to write himself notes on his hands and stuff because he wakes up every morning and he doesn't remember who he was from the day before.
Yeah.
That sound familiar?
I know of the movie. I don't think I've seen it before, but it does sound a little weird.
Maybe that's not the right name to it. Scott Rose. I decided in 2019 to transition from my prior job as an art director to full-time as a reseller, collecting my whole life. Thank you both. You have opened my eyes to so many new things. Matulum, California. Now, I have not been to that area, so I do not know. I'm guessing that's farther up towards probably Oregon and Washington area. I saw one of Don's stores, thousands of listings. Yeah, the store I share with you's got 27,000 currently, heading towards 70,000 listings.
Yeah, you're thinking of Memento, and I was thinking
that's it.
Yeah. I did not like that movie.
Yeah, I had to watch it a couple times, and I didn't want to watch it more, but then I wanted to know, and you miss it if you step out of the room, and I'm not a big fan of those. Now, I don't mind like a foreign film that's all like text in the bottom. I'm fine with that. We watched Hang the Red Lantern, I think it's called, which is it was in another language. I don't remember the language. I think maybe it was a Chinese movie. I like some of the foreign ones. Like Das Boot was always one of my favorites back in the foreign language. When I was taking German, we watched it in class. And let me try and get that off before I can. See, now how does that happen? I don't get how that happens. See, now, there we go. Wow, sorry. I must have accidentally hit it because it's so touchy at my end. I done well with vintage kids records lately. Paul Tidwell. Kids record. I just sold Little Golden records. I sold a bunch of them on Amazon just the other day for $15 a piece. On eBay they go like $7 at the most. So I got double on Amazon for each individual record than I would have gotten for them on eBay. So I do very well on vintage collectibles on Amazon. Just believe it or not. Dom could sell a new seller a box of comics. I got a box of comic books here, but I got a big box of comic books here.
Yeah. One other thing about the comic books I was talking about earlier with, trying to make sure you're getting them for about that 10 to 15 cent range, maybe maximum 20 cents. That is so much easier to do if you are buying multiple boxes. But when you're in a situation, I just actually had this yesterday. It was with another reseller who happens to live locally, and she's in my Facebook group. And she had some comics that were 80s to 70s. She estimated she had about 200 of them. There were no key issues in there that I could see, so it would just be kind of like your average bulk purchase. But, you got to figure, and I saw some of the pictures, a bunch of them had damage, creasing, that kind of stuff. So you're picking up some of the good along with some of the bad. But, I said to her, and this happens almost every time, but not all the time, but almost every time you try to buy that amount from somebody, you're looking at about $30 for that. That's pretty much it. Maybe you could go up to 40 if you saw something in there you really like, but that's really as far as you really want to push it. And she's like, yeah, no, I can't sell them for that low. And I said, yeah, I understand. I go, but that's the problem when you're trying to sell. It sounds like to someone new sometimes who just came across those in the basement, which she did, like that. Wow, I have tons of comics. I have 200. There's a lot of them. It's not a lot. It's really not. Like
5,000 is a lot.
Yeah, right. And I'll typically buy them in that amount. I'll buy 5,000, 6,000 at a time, even more. And so in that situation, you're giving someone hundreds of dollars, $500 or something like that, $600. Now, if they really need that cash, they don't care to just dump all the books to you. It's much easier to make that deal, but you're still getting it at the same rate.
Yeah, we buy quantity, 5, 10. I've even bought more quantity in records, postcards, comics, magazines, stamps, you name it. Anything I do, even coins, I've gotten thousands of coins before in single purchase. Tokens, video games, I've gotten hundreds and hundreds to the 1,000 point. Nintendo, I bought once before we bought like 1,200 Nintendo cartridges, the old school. Quantity, it rules the day in my book because I can sell a few of them and get my money back usually. Now, sometimes I've shelled out, $5,000-$10,000 for something at one time, which the first time you do that's really kind of scary, I have to say, because that's a lot of money you shell out. But after you've gone through a couple of those big purchases like that, you'll see that everything sells. You got your money back pretty quickly. You're making a ton of money. I mean, it takes money to make money. You got to have something to invest. You got to have seed money, I guess you would call it. One thing that I've seen, I got a good deal the other day. In fact, I wish I would have brought it over here, but I got a good deal of stuff the other day. And the only reason I got it and 2 or 3 other people didn't, because they didn't want to shell out that kind of money on it. Their limit must have been 1,000 plus, and they weren't going to go over that $1,000 mark. But I didn't care. I didn't care if I'm spending a couple grand on something. If I know the money's there, you'd be a fool not to shell out the money, as long as you got the money to play with, of course. But I'm assuming the other 2 people who looked at it just didn't have the money, because if they did, they would have sure as heck bought what I got. So, don't be afraid to jump on something, and don't be afraid of the money if you're sure what you got. That's the biggest point. Which flea markets do you go to? Webster or John Screw? I won't try and pronounce it because I'll probably butcher it. But I used to set up at Webster. I was a Webster dealer at one point. Wagon Wheel and Gun Highway. I know where that's at as well. Let me get to. We got a few more. We'll cut it here just a few more minutes because we're after the 9 o'clock hour. Usually my show's on at 7. I know we got some competition because there's several other channels that do the same time frame. Next week's show will probably be the normal time, and I will have some treats for next week's show. I was going to give something away this week here, but I didn't want to be taking up time with guests on. So next week I've got some cartoons. Literally, you'll see some cartoons, some Christmas stuff. I've got some good Christmas music. We'll have some mix-ins. And I'm giving away something worth well over $100 that took a lot of time and effort of me to put into it. I'm going to give away one of the clowns next week, for real. It's going to be wrapped up. You'll see it. Thanks to Dom's helping me out with some of the guide rules. We're going to post out there, too. So next week is an honest giveaway of something that I spent a lot of time. It's actually one of the ones in the video where you'll see it made. So you get to see and have one of the ones that was made in that video, just FYI. Whoever the winner is, there'll be rules and the whole works that you'll have to do, and the winner will be announced on the next following week, too. So I was an art director at Marvel. I have lots of comics to go through. Treasure Coast Picker. That would have been neat to be an art director there. Let's see here. Tampa, I used to go to Tampa. There's a big flea market in Tampa, too. Don ruined the movie. Well, okay, Duncan, now come on. Let me swip down. Let's just get a couple more questions in here. Let's go down. My feed is all over the place again. There's Don with his Pink Panther joke still.
People were requesting appearances.
Yeah, I did see it. I saw your comment. I did see it, though. Dom's gremlin. Let's see here. Don Conley, how often do you check and what day should you check for vinyl records at thrift stores? Depends on your thrift store. I don't get vinyl records at thrift stores at all anymore. I buy them in big mass quantities. The best places to buy records, and 45s where all the money's at. 45s and 78s. LPs are slim and far between what goes for a ton of money. I mean, average LP is like $5 these days, in all honesty, unless they're new ones or they're scarce ones. 45s I buy mostly from jukebox dealers and stuff that are going out of business from Detroit. I buy them in 5,000 or 10,000 quantities at a time. I can probably buy that many every single week if I really wanted to dig and drive a couple hours. Detroit for me is like 45 minutes away. We go to Ann Arbor too and get records quite often. So they're out there, I promise you, in big mass quantities. I don't mess with individual records at thrift stores because most of the thrift stores here check all that stuff out these days. They'll sell them on their own website. The Goodwills have them here, you know, their own site. Salvation Army scans, Goodwill scans. They have private auctions. They have local live auctions even here as well at the Goodwill. So it's just not worth the time. Let me see here. I've been good all year. eBay does not care. Neutron Bomb. I'm going to call the CEO. Good luck with that one. They don't have a CEO yet, so.
No, he's joking. You know, he's joking that he's a reference to Carol.
Oh, you're okay. Yeah.
The CEO of she wants to be the CEO of eBay.
Yeah, I wouldn't want that job. There'd be a lot of haters out in the world.
That's true.
Hey, Karen, for those in Patreon too, I have the Patreon video uploaded. So as soon as I'm off the show, it's going straight up to Patreon. It's already uploaded and everything else. It's a 2-parter. Second part's already edited too. Had I not been running slow on the internet, they would have both been up today. But you'll have the first part today. The second part, as I said, will be up tomorrow. There's 3 different Bolo type things in there, as well as some stamp related items. It's 4 different things, 4 different categories on that Patreon video. Again, it's going to be up as soon as the show's over. Carl and everybody else on here too. Just FYI, I didn't think about that, unfortunately. We're going to cut it off here in just a second. We'll let Dom get some parting thoughts in here first if he wants to. Say his final thoughts for the show.
Yeah, my final thoughts really would just be to dovetail off of what I was talking about last night on my own live show, which is to make sure you set for yourself for 2020 measurable goals that you want to accomplish, and find a way to track that over the course of the year. Don't give up on them. If you're hitting some pitfalls here or there, just try to find a way to reevaluate and get yourself back on track. Remember, you're in a business and you're trying to grow it, so try to find viable ways that you could grow your business in terms of how much total revenue that you're bringing in, or maybe it's even just branching out into different areas. Maybe you want to start doing some social media or something like that. Challenge yourself. Do something that's that you're not totally comfortable in. Break into a new niche. If you never sold things in bulk before, or you never bought things in bulk, you heard us talking about that tonight. Break into something different, so challenge yourself. Don't take the easy way out. Just continuously challenge yourself year after year, and keep yourself motivated. Whatever goals you set right now, I would even don't wait till January 1st. If you have goals you think you want to hit, get a jump start on them and start them now. Start them the last week of December. Get the ball rolling. Just keep moving. Don't stop. Don't give up. Keep working hard.
Good one there. I'm going to piggyback that off in a second. Paul Tidwell called out Memento as well, but Mountain Man Treasure called it another movie that's pretty interesting, The Machinist. If you haven't seen that one, that's actually a pretty decent movie. But we're going to call it here. Dom is 100% right. I always have a goal. Not only do I have a goal, I have it taped on the wall 24/7. When that one comes down, another one goes up as soon as I take it down. Don't ever be minus. There you go. Don't ever be minus a goal on the wall. 10 goals, 5 goals, whatever the case may be. Get yourself a dry eraser board. Write stuff down. I've got a board over there that has all kinds of issues. Like if I'm supposed to meet somebody, I'm supposed to do this. I've got a list. Do I need to call and check back on items, picks and things like that, or a picker? All that stuff's written down. When it's done, I draw a line through it. I don't erase it. I keep it up there. So in case something else goes on, I'll remember to go back and double check that too. So that's a good thing here. My big take on, starting the year off right is to have a vision for what you want out of this. And I say this all the time, a vision and a drive. Know what you want out of this. Don't just blindly travel and say, all I want is money. Have something specific you want out of this. A life where you don't have to work for somebody else is something specific. So the drive is what gets me there. The dedication to your job, the need to do this all the time, because all you want to do is grow your business more and more. And that's my drive. That's my drive, and factors are my wife and my kids, and making sure that they have what they need. And that's all I personally need to work from 6:30 in the morning till 12 o'clock. What time did I text you last? Like 12 something last night, I think.
Yeah.
That's a typical day. I get up at 6:30, well, between 6 and 6:30 every single weekday to take my youngest son to school. And as soon as I get back, he's only a few minutes away, I'm working already, although we've sold a lot, my pack up days have been so screwed up, I've had to have help. But the point of it is I work all day long. If I have to do something, I can stop, but I'm right back to it. When the show's over, I'm still going to be doing something else too. I'll be posting for Patreon. I'll be answering Patreon tomorrow. But anyway, a drive, a vision, and set yourself some goals, just like Dom said as well too. All of that's important. Your vision is your goal, basically, and it changes constantly. If you meet one, you just make another one. Don't ever not have a goal set up. Even if you don't think you can make that goal, that should still be your goal if that's really what you want out of this. Figure out a way to get there. Take little tiny steps to that direction, and you will get there. Just don't give up. Could take you a year or two, of not doing very well. We ate ramen noodles for quite some time. All the kids ate well. We, bit the bullet and did what we had to do and made this work. It was our choice. It was a tough choice, and it worked through. So motivation wise, at the beginning of the year, anybody can do this. If I can do this or Dom can do this, we're nothing special. Anybody can do this, but you got to have that drive, the dedication. You got to have some goals in it. So I guess we'll leave it at that there. I appreciate everybody coming on and giving up a little bit of our holiday season here. Most people's kids, probably tomorrow is their last day of school. You're going to be spending some time with your family. It's not all about reselling during the holidays. Take some time and enjoy yourself. Dom, as he said earlier, takes the last week of the year off. You got to spend that time. Reselling for me gives me all the time in the world I need to spend with my family. So I'll say Merry Christmas, because I probably won't see you live before. Dom, one last Merry Christmas if you'd like, so we can not forget anybody on there, and we will let it go at that.
Absolutely. To everybody, and look, seeing you all again next year, continuing to grow the channels, and looking forward to some more Don and Dom shows next year.
Ditto. Have a good evening.
Bye, everyone.
Okay, if it'll let us sign off now.